So in this video, I'm going to explain how to basically write the escape room business plan and financial model. You should always start with the financial model. So this is the financial model. Let's go to the table of contents. It has all the required elements in order to submit your business plan to an investor or a lender. For example, capex and investment assumptions, revenue assumptions, cost assumptions. So I'm going to go through each and every tab. There are around 21 tabs in here, 23 tabs in here. And I'm going to show you how to use this financial model. Then I'm going to move into the business plan. It's going to give you a good idea of how to work on this. So let's get started. So in here, you are going to place your business name. Let's say it's XYZ escape room. Then you are going to put the years in here. For example, it's 2026 to 2030 for this assumption, but let's say it's 2025. Based on your estimate, based on your assumptions, let's say you want this to be 2025, then just make the necessary changes in here. 2028 and 2029. So once you have selected the projected years, then you have to move into the capex and investment assumptions. But before that, I'm going to get to the dashboard just to give you a glimpse of what we are looking at in here. So as you can see, you can scroll through the different years. For example, this is 2025. Let's say I want to scroll to 2029. In investment, there is nothing because based on our assumptions, we are not investing during 2029. Let's get back to 2025, and as you can see, the revenue for 2025, the costs and everything are presented in these graphs and in this dashboard. The break-even analysis indicates the time period at which you are expected to reach profitability. So the dashboard gives a lot of insight into the model. So let's get back to the starting point, which is the capex assumptions. So in the capex assumptions, we have investment section and or fund injection and capital expenditure. So let's say you are investing 200K into the business. So after 200K, after investing 200K into the business, a certain amount goes into improving the escape room facility. Now you can either purchase the facility or you can rent the facility. Let's say in this case, you are renting the facility, and you will be paying 35,000 for improving the facility. It could be a warehouse, it could be any other facility. So let's say you are putting 35,000 to improve the facility. So apart from that, you are, let's say, gonna pay 12,000 for room design, 8,000 for props and decoration, so on and so forth. Now you have the option to make additional investments during the projected years. Let's say during the second year, you plan to further improve it with by investing 12,000 extra. So if you do that, everything in the model is gonna change. This model is very dynamic. In that case, let's go to the balance sheet. As you can see, so previously when this was 0, now let's go to the balance sheet. As you can see, escape room facility 35,000 was 35,000, but when I added additional 12,000, so the total asset value for escape room has become 47,000. So this is how the model changes. When you make any change to the assumptions tabs, then the other parts of the model is going to change. So like this, you are gonna mention where you plan to invest your equity or your loan. After that, let's say you are investing 200K, and out of that 61K goes towards non-current assets, and you are left with 138K. Out of that 138K, let's say you plan to spend 3,500 into promotions. I'm gonna come to that later. And then you are gonna be left with 135K of working capital, net working capital. This net working capital can be spent on day-to-day expenses, to pay salaries and overall operations of the business, to run the overall operations of the business. That's what you need working capital for. Also, this model is going to indicate if your working capital goes to negative. If your working capital goes to negative, then it means that your business is unsustainable. For example, let's say if I put 50,000 instead of 200,000 in here, so what happens is this becomes red. The reason this becomes red, it indicates that the amount of money you are putting in the business is not sufficient to cover the expenses of the business. That's why it's turning red. So the model is going to indicate what is the adequate amount to reach a certain amount of revenue. Let's say you are targeting $100,000 per year. Obviously, you need to invest a certain amount to reach that $100,000. Let's say you are targeting $500,000 a year. So obviously, you will have to invest more if you are targeting a higher revenue. So all of these factors are going to be considered in this model, and the model is going to basically indicate what happens if you, let's say, invest X amount versus Y amount. What happens if you increase the price by 15%? What happens if the cost increases? So all of these things are going to be considered in the model. So let's go to revenue assumptions. I already indicated that we are assuming that we are putting 3,500 for the first year's promotion. Out of the 3,500, we have assumed that 50% goes to this, 21% goes to this, 16% goes to this, and 13% goes to this. Very important thing is if any of the if the total proportion doesn't add up to 100%, then it's gonna indicate as red, which indicates that you have room for more fund allocation. And if it's like more than 100%, even then it's gonna indicate that you have to make adjustments in the proportion. So it has to add up to 100%, the fund allocation. Another important thing is, let's say you are spending 1,750 on in-person marketing or 735 on social media, and your customer acquisition cost, which means the cost to acquire one customer, is $250, then you're going to acquire 3 customers or 3 players. So by adding all the players that you have acquired, we get 27, and this row indicates the number of players that you might acquire by through your personal networking. For example, your friends or family members. So this number indicates the number of players that know you, or you don't have to spend any money on marketing to acquire these players. So apart from that, please note that these numbers can be higher or lower, because there is no fixed number for this. It totally depends on your experience, your assumptions, and other factors. If you want to spend $35,000 instead of 3,500 during the first year, let's see what happens. So if you do that, obviously the number of customers acquired will be increased by 10x. So this is how the model works. The more money you spend on marketing, the more customers you get, and the lower your customer acquisition cost, the more customers you have, and the more it impacts your profitability in a positive manner. Now let's come to revenue. So in revenue, we have provided options for 3 different varieties of games in here, and merchandise items. The things are pretty self-explanatory in here. For example, ticket price per player, proportion of total players. For example, if I get 27 players during the first year, so it means that I have 27 players, and out of the 27 players, 30% will opt for this game, and 50% will opt for this game, and 20% will opt for this game. For merchandise as well, it's pretty simple. Let's say for t-shirts, 20% of the customers will buy t-shirts, 20% will buy hoodies. So these are all just kind of placeholder numbers. These numbers totally depend on your assumption. If you want to change the items in here, you can do that as well. It totally depends on your choice. Then we have the revenue breakdown, which is just a calculation of all the stuff that we explained in revenue assumptions. If you just click on any of the cells in here, the calculation data is the references is gonna show you how the number was calculated. It's gonna give you a very good idea. So just to make it simple, let's say you are acquiring 27 customers during 2025. Not all the customers will basically stick with you, and not all the customers will visit you every month. So in order to consider that, we have placed something called annual frequency of visits per player. Let's say you acquire John, and John visits your facility 3 times a year. Now it could be 5 times or 6 times or even once per year, and John might leave your facility, or might change his location, so he might not be able to come visit you. So in order to consider that, we have considered churn rate. So churn rate is basically the percentage of customers who are leaving you every month. So we have considered all of this into the revenue breakdown. Then we have OPEX and tax assumptions, which is basically operating expenditure, cash flow assumptions. Then we have the cost breakdown, which is a monthly breakdown of all the costs. It's pretty similar to the stuff that I explained. It involves staff wages, cleaning supplies, all of this stuff. It is derived from these assumptions, cost assumption. So in all the hard inputs are basically in cost as in assumption steps. So if you have to change the numbers, then you can only do it through assumption steps. Then we have salaries assumptions, the dashboard, obviously, revenue summary, loan amortization schedule. If you are taking a loan, then in the capex part, you have to mention how much loan you are taking. Let's say it could be 50,000, and then you have to mention basically what's the payback period. It could be 60 months, it could be 30 months. So depending on that, everything in the model is going to change. For example, if I go to income statement, as you can see earlier, there was no interest expense, but now as you can see, we have interest expense. So if you if you take a loan, then you will incur interest expense, otherwise no interest expense. So this is how the whole model works. The rest of the stuff is quite simple to understand, like income statement, cash flow statement, balance sheet. These are the basic things that are usually required by banks and investors in order to raise funding. So we have included all of the stuff in here. If you feel lost for some reason, then just go to table of content and just scroll through the tab, scroll to the tab that you want to visit. For example, if I want to visit the dashboard, I can just click here. If I think that I should basically go back to the table of contents again, then table of contents, salaries, assumptions, all the tabs have the option to go back to table of contents. So you can just navigate in a very simple manner. So I hope that I have been able to explain the financial model clearly. Now I'm going to move on to the doc file, which is basically the business plan. Okay, so this is the doc file, the business plan. So in here, firstly, we have the cover page. You can edit this cover page with a free Canva account if you don't need a paid Canva account. And there are, I think, more than 100 cover pages to choose from. You can edit the text, you can edit the image, you can edit this in any way you want. So you have a ton of options for the cover page. So you can choose any of them in here. Okay, let's say I choose this one. No, not this one. I think this one looks better. So let's choose this one. Let's say you put your brand name in here. Let's say you make any changes or remove this, or let's say put your own website name and upload an image. Let's say I have an image in here. Let's say I have this image in here and I want to put this in here. So I can do that. So you can put any image in here and it's going to work. So that way, after that, what you have to do is download this in PNG format. Click on current page, then just download. So after the downloading process is done, what you have to do is replace this image with the existing image. So the downloading is done. Now I'm just going to click on this replace image, upload from computer, and just paste here. As you can see, it's done. It's quite simple to do. Then you can just delete this part after you are done. So I'm putting this back to the previous cover page. So after that, what you have to do is this table of content is it updates automatically. For example, if I click on this, it's gonna update automatically based on the current configuration. We have executive summary as H1, mission statement as H2, and everything is basically mentioned. Now let's say you want to change this content. So how do you do this? This is kind of a sample. The reason this is a sample is if we use a sample, it's easier for you to make the changes. So let me show you how to do this in a very easy way. So, okay, so you can use Claude AI or ChatGPT for this. Any free plan is gonna work. So you don't need to pay for these tools. So what you can do is copy this, put it here, put quotation marks, and just say rewrite this. Rewrite this and my escape room business name is, let's say, mystery escape room or smoky escape room. Founder name is, let's say, Alan Smith, and founding year is 2022, and it's located in, let's say, Miami. Keep the overall format same. So if you just, I think I spelled this incorrectly. Okay, so this has already rewritten this. So Smoky Escape Room is an exciting escape room founded in 2022. So it has rewritten the whole thing based on this format. So now what you can do is just copy this from here and paste it in here. As you can see, it's quite simple. If you need to make some small changes here and there, you can obviously do that. The mission statement is also given. If you want to change it in any way, for example, let's copy this and say now change the statement, mission statement, in a similar way. So once you have given the name and the location and everything, you don't have to repeat it every time. Now if you just say provide this information, as you can see, it has changed the name in here, so you can just copy it from here. So the purpose of the template is to give you a reference which can be used to create your own content without wasting time. So you can follow the same tactic for vision statement and other content as well. Now let's come to this industry overview. So industry overview is already given. These information are taken from online. You should conduct a study of your own in order to find out what information is to be included, and also provide reference as a footnote. So for example, this information, let's say, for example, let me give you an example. So escape room market research. So let's say I have this information from this particular site. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it. If I take some information from this site, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to put a footnote in here. This is usually what is common practice. So that way, if someone reads this business plan, he or she is going to realize that you have done thorough research to back up the numbers in here. So that's very important. You should include the references. Then we have financial highlights or earnings and profitability. In here, we have mentioned that insert a graph or chart. So if you visit these two areas, it has a ton of graph and charts. For example, you can copy this, just copy this and just paste it here. This is already linked to the spreadsheet. So every time you make any change to the financial model, you don't have to make the change in here. So for example, let me show you. So let's say in revenue assumptions, let's say I increase the customer acquisition cost for in-person marketing to, let's say, $2,000, then it's gonna hit the profitability significantly and negatively. So as you can see, it has it is moving like this. Now let's make this 2,000 or 20,000. So if I do that, as you can see, there is an option for update, and it's gonna update. As you can see, it has become more negative in here. So earlier it was looking like this. Just look at this bar charts, and now as you can see, it has changed. So these are some of the things. These are some of the things you get to play with in here. Let's get it back to normal. So similarly, you can add graphs for break-even analysis as well. So for example, in case of break-even analysis, if I go to the graphs and charts, here is the break-even analysis chart. So let's copy this and paste it here. So it's breaking even at around 2028. Now let's increase the price significantly and let's see what happens then. Let's go to assumptions, and this is my revenue from the games. These are my revenues from the game. So let's say I increase this one, which covers 50% of your revenue, to let's say $1,500. Now let's see what happens. So after I do that, just click on update. As you can see, you'll probably start making profit from the first year. So these are the things that you get to play with. It's pretty interesting. In here, let's get back to normal. Yeah. So this is how you have to add the graphs and charts. We have already mentioned what is the role of each graph and chart and how you should mention this. Everything is mentioned clearly in here. So we have everything is basically pre-filled. For example, business model, game key partners, game designers, puzzle creators, prop and set designers. This is not a generic business plan. This is a specific business plan built for escape rooms. So everything is pre-filled in here, apart from a couple of stuff. For example, because this can't be pre-filled. For example, this thing I want to change. So let's say I am Alan Smith, and I want to write the bio. So I'm gonna go to this in quotation marks, rewrite this. I am, let's say this is written in third person. Now let's say I want to write this in first person. I can do that. So I am Alan Smith, and I have a bachelor's degree from Harvard and have 12 plus years of experience working at Disney. Now rewrite this in first person to represent that and keep the tone similar. Keep the tone or keep the format similar. Now it's going to give me the desired content in here. You can obviously make necessary changes if you want to. I, Alan Smith, am the founder of Smoky. So you can mention I'm Alan Smith and I'm the founder of so and so. So you can make small edits here and there, but the main thing is that this template allows you to basically do things pretty fast without having to spend time searching for stuff on Google. And mostly the financial model is very robust. Oops. So that's it. If you have any questions, you can obviously ask me. Send me an email. My email address is in the description in this video. Let me know if you have any questions. You can also book a call with me with the Calendly link in the description. So good luck with starting your escape room business.